Hey everyone, my name's Total Sombro. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I want to put on my tinfoil hat. Okay. I've been having a ton of fun with World of Warcraft recently, and I want to get to playing this game with some of my friends. I'd really like some of the folks that I game with regularly to check out the game because I think they would really like it. I think World of Warcraft does combat, exploration, and a lot of why people like MMOs. Like World of Warcraft's an original, right? It's a classic, not to be confused with classic WoW, which is different, right? Um, but tinfoil hat, I think that with the Microsoft Blizzard acquisition, there really is going to be a push to move World of Warcraft to be intertwined with the Game Pass that Microsoft has. Okay. Now, I have a little bit of supporting evidence. I don't have a ton, but for me, logically, it makes sense that World of Warcraft would come to Game Pass. And the way I kind of envision it coming to Game Pass is a way that is not entirely dissimilar to how Final Fantasy XIV does it. You may have heard of Final Fantasy XIV, the critically acclaimed MMORPG, where you can play both Stormblood and Heavensward all the way through at no cost. You don't have to pay a sub. You don't have to buy the game. You get to play that as a free trial. You get to play the base game and its first two expansions absolutely free of charge. Okay? And with Final Fantasy XIV, because we have played that, by the time you get through Vanilla or Realm Reborn and Heavensward and then Stormblood, you are a minimum of 150 to 200 hours deep, and probably closer to 300 to 400. Like, you've spent some time in that game, right? It is a classic MMO in the sense that, you'll spend a little bit of time in there, right? With WoW, the biggest barrier to entry is that the free trial on WoW only goes to level 20. And so in retail, that is like a maybe a 2-hour gaming session. It's not a lot of time to get to level 20. You can get to level 20 in a matter of literally just a couple hours. Once you're just gaming, you're doing quests and you're doing that kind of stuff. And that's not even to count if you start doing dungeon runs or something like that, you level up very, very, very quickly in retail. So if World of Warcraft capped your max level at, let's say, 60, and allowed you to play all the way through, and let's call it Battle for Azeroth. Let's call it BFA. On a free trial subscription, I think that would really let people dip their feet in and kind of get into the game and go through and say, okay, I want to check this out. And I've heard a lot of talk about, what if WoW came to Game Pass? What would that look like? Well, Game Pass has something, I believe, 25 million subscribers or something. Some asinine number like that. It's a ton of people. It's a rack of people. Okay? Out of that 25 million, even if only a small percentage, let's say sub 5% of people choose to try WoW, you're talking minimum, that's hundreds of thousands, up to a few million players that could just try WoW because there's no barrier to entry. Okay? Now, why do I think this is going to happen? Blizzard, Activision, and ultimately Microsoft want to make money. WoW is a consistent income generation source because people that play it are typically going to keep playing it, and they have cash flow month over month through the subscription. Now, what other subscriptions does Microsoft have? They have the Game Pass. You get Game Pass Ultimate for $15, right? WoW subscription's about $15. If they bundled your WoW subscription into your Game Pass subscription to where you just got access to the game, and then all you need to do is purchase the most recent expansion, that's a whole lot of barriers to entry just gone. And I don't think it's unreasonable to expect people to buy the most recent expansion. You could go even further, okay? And you could say that maybe we expand the cash shop, make the game more free-to-play friendly, and then monetize the game through cosmetics to pay for ongoing development. Now, I don't know that that is something that WoW could turn on a dime and do. But I was watching, and the idea for this video, I was watching or listening to when I was driving home, Bellular Gaming video, where he was talking about some of the changes coming to WoW recently, and to some of the stuff. So recently you may have seen, like, they said on the game director or someone higher up at Blizzard said, like, hey, we're never going to have the Trader's Tendies available for purchase in the store, right? And they're still not, but you can get them as a free addition to a bundle. And this is what Bellular had to say about that.
And this is when I think back to Ian's quote. He said, quote, significant bundles. That obviously makes me think of pre-orders, of deluxe editions, or, you know, heroic and epic editions, as Blizzard calls them. And pre-orders are major for a company, right? Because one of the things that matters, like, yes, your overall revenue is great, but cash flow, getting cash now to deploy it, that's big. You want to pull your money in right now. That's why pre-orders are pretty big for a company like Blizzard. And WoW expansion pre-purchases coming with a character boost, access to allied races and things like that we've had in the past, those are super powerful because you pre-order the game, but you get shit now. And that means you can actualize your post-BlizzCon excitement. Now, with 11.0 being announced this BlizzCon...
Now, Sunbro, when is BlizzCon? Don't worry, I got you. November 3rd to 4th is BlizzCon. Now, why is that important? Why is the fact that BlizzCon is November 3rd to 4th important? Because it's always around that time of the year. What other significant dates directly precede that? Well, the Microsoft Blizzard Activision deal has already been approved by everyone other than the CMA, which is a regulatory body in the UK, and they are the only regulatory body that is still holding out to this point. Okay, according to The Verge, Microsoft's document is heavily redacted, so reference to the company's 10-year agreement with Sony over Call of Duty doesn't shed any new light on the deal terms. We also still don't have details of Microsoft's final proposal to restructure its Activision deal either. But the CMA is looking for comments from Microsoft's rivals by August 4th and will accept the final undertaking or making a final order by August 29th. That means we should get more details on Microsoft's final proposal in the coming weeks. Microsoft recently agreed to an extension of its $68.7 billion deal with Activision, pushing the new deadline to October 18th. Okay, so our new deadline sitting at October 18th for when we know, can this deal go through? Now, I suspect if they can't get past the CMA, they will do some sort of restructuring within their business in the UK to just have it happen. The fact that it has literally been approved everywhere, I think they are more than likely just trying to go through their final hurdles. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what that entails, or, from a business perspective, what that looks like, right? But we have the new deadline for their deal, October 18th. Not 2 weeks later is BlizzCon. What a place to announce that World of Warcraft not only is coming to Game Pass, but that you can pre-order the new expansion, use this time to catch up before it releases, and even use a character boost to bring your character right up into the action today. And of course, with your pre-order of whatever 11.0 is, you would have access to all the latest content. You would have access to all of Dragonflight, and you'd be able to join in. Okay? Now, what are some other anecdotal things that I think might be lending themselves to this? Why would WoW be coming to Game Pass? Maybe potentially to consoles, to Xbox. We're seeing a steady paring down of the abilities in the game. where we have less and less total abilities, okay? Now, I play World of Warcraft on controller, and I literally have no issue mapping literally every button I want to my controller. You have your base face 8 buttons, your base 8 face buttons, sorry. You click right trigger, that's another 8 buttons. Click left trigger, that's another 8 buttons. Click right trigger, left trigger, that's another 8 buttons. Okay? And then there's even more that you're able to set up when you really like dig into what some of the add-ons can do. But even with a system, like if WoW were to directly implement a system akin to something that like Final Fantasy XIV uses, you could have even more. You could have up to 48. You could have up to 48 keybinds directly on your gamepad with no additional gobbledygook needed. Okay? There's one other Bellular video that I want to pull up where he had some interesting stuff to say. So let me pull that up.
Well, right, we've consistently heard about that, and the content cadence has been terrific, but it's an expansion that did not expand the game's reach, as Blizzard themselves have seemingly even said in those earnings calls, right? It didn't get all the sales, but the people who are here are sticking around more. Now, the thing is, in the middle of an expansion cycle, you still want to be making money. So if you cannot readily increase your revenue via growing your quantity of customers, which is very hard to do in the middle of an expansion, then obviously you want to increase your revenue by increasing your average user spend. There are various different cohorts of users in World of Warcraft. Things like this are not targeted toward the cohorts that cluster their spend around new expansions and then just wander off for a bit. This is for the people who are just sticking with the game through all of.
I can see the writing on the wall. And maybe it is completely tinfoil hat. Maybe it is completely tinfoil hat. But I can see, WoW coming to Game Pass, I can see us going through and really getting an experience in World of Warcraft where almost anyone can just jump in, give it a try, play the game, and see what it is, right? Because without those barriers to entry, it's such a good game. And it's still, even with the barriers to entry, it's such a good game, but it's a hard ask to get people in. I can't see a company wanting to turn down being able to basically print money. What do you think? Do you think that they're going to try to move World of Warcraft over to Game Pass? Do you think that they're going to try to do that in part, but maybe not fully? Do you think that they're going to try to leave World of Warcraft completely separate from Game Pass and have it just be its own stream of revenue on a line item somewhere? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And if you watched this far, thank you so much. Please make sure to like the video and hit that subscribe button down below. Thank you, and we'll see you here on the next one. Bye now.